What can you give us some examples more? Break that, because human trafficking can entail a lot.
By any means, right?
By any means, man. By any means, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, he wants cutthroats.
Right.
By any means.
Christopher King checking in at the By Any Means podcast. It was a great time. Make sure you follow me on social media at The Real Christopher King and at www.jencourse.com. Thank you to the Upper Room for hosting the By Any Means podcast, and can't wait to do any more projects with By Any Means and the Upper Room.
Peace to the people. You know this is. It's the king of vibes, the father of finesse, the keeper of the culture, and your favorite voice on there. It's the Podfather himself. It's OC, and I'm here with my brother, the street consultant, for episode 1 of the By Any Means podcast. We have a special guest with us today. I'm going to let my co-host here introduce him. Go ahead, bro.
Man, you know what it is. I'm the street consultant here with my good friend, my good brother, OC. And we got a special guest today, Mr. Christopher King, legend in his own right.
Absolutely.
Grandson of a legend, the late B.B. King. Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, founder of the Gentleman's Course, president of the United for Human Rights of Florida.
Man, the list goes on.
Overall great man, great activist, the model of black excellence, what we here to showcase.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, we're going to get into this interview and see what this brother has to bring to the table and hear more about his story and how he overcame certain obstacles in his life to get where he's at.
Absolutely. So I just want to first, thank you for joining us, sitting down with us and everything. So yeah, the floor is yours, man. Why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you. First off, thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely.
an honor to be here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Everyone who's watching the podcast this evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in. Simply put, wonderful introduction. That President Lifetime Achievement Award I received from the Honorable Biden last January. Okay. So it's truly from the work that we do in the Gentleman's Course, where we educate the kids, focusing on mainly 3 topics, which is etiquette, human rights, and human trafficking. Those are our 3 pillars. Okay. Living in Florida, human trafficking is ranked 3rd. People don't realize the dangers when it comes to how it affects youth ages 12 through 18. And I say youth because I'm not talking about just girls.
Right.
It affects boys just as equally as it does young ladies. But we live in a society where media plays on your heart.
Correct.
And a lot of times we'll see an image of a young girl and we'll feel some sorrow towards it.
Right.
And we forget that it affects young boys just as equally. So our program is designed to assist with rehabilitation. A lot of times when kids are suffering from being victimized, and this is a safe word to use after they've been rescued because they're no longer a victim. A victim is a current state of mind when you're in the situation.
Right.
But if you were rescued and you're back at home, you were victimized. You're not a victim.
Right.
Just like when you say a survivor. Well, you've already survived. So even if you tell a person who's suffering from breast cancer, for example, they're no longer a survivor because they've already done that.
Right.
They're living. So call them by the name that they are,
okay,
because those key words would actually hold them in a state of mind that they've already overcame. Why we keep putting them back in their place. Mm. So our program is designed to help rehabilitate so they can get back to the social standards, gaining trust, open communication, and seeing that humans are not all evil people.
Right.
So I just want to touch on that because when you said it, that's what I was thinking. So young boys, like when you say human trafficking and stuff like that, I don't think young boys like what are like some examples of like how are they? I guess, I mean, obviously anyone can be trafficked, but what can you give us some examples more? Break that, because human trafficking can entail a lot.
By any means, right?
By any means, man. By any means, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, he wants cutthroats.
Right.
So by any means, here's a hard one for you to swallow as a man talking to another man. But what is one thing that a man can do that a woman cannot do, but he still can't do it?
Defend himself.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm gonna let my partner get one more answer. I think I know the answer.
Oh, then give it to me then, bro. He'd rather me embarrass myself, I guess.
It's what makes exactly. A man cannot have a child, So in human,
they got a show out right now called Pregnant Husbands, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Crazy,
it's
right?
2022, bro. Anything can happen, man.
But in the human trafficking world, when you take that ideology, a boy will never go unworked. As sad and sickening as it is, if a woman gets pregnant, she can't work.
Right.
But that boy can never stop working. So a commodity, when you put a price tag on a human body and the value in their mindsets, this is how they look at it. Your employability to a trafficker is at its utmost, and that's dangerous. Because we look at it as, they ain't gonna get me. I'm protect myself. I'm good. I'm gonna fight all of them. Yeah. Trust me, they're not even trying to tussle with you. We look at society and the issue where our guard is always down. We're not protecting ourselves in various states of mind. You know, I was in a room and I was having a general conversation with somebody, and a gentleman walked around the corner and had a knife in his hand, whole blade. Everything stopped for me because I'm aware, even though I wasn't even looking or talking to this guy,
right.
But I seen that twinkle in the corner of my eye, blink,
yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, he got a whole blade in his hand. Y'all keep talking, but I'm understanding this blade in this man's hand. So being aware of your surroundings is always paramount when you're walking in these streets, in these clubs, even at work. But worst case scenario, our kids, they walk to school. And a lot of times they walk to school walking the same path every day. Human traffickers are going to target you when you're at your weakest point, not your most guarded point. So they're studying how you move. When are you most vulnerable? So they don't have to tussle and fight with you. They're going to catch you, as we say, slipping. Right. So we educate the kids, change your route, walk in a crowd. Don't be alone as much as we scream independence, so I got me. No. Sometimes being among people is safety and security. Right. At its most high.
I like that.
Because they can't get all of you unless they show up in 15 vans. But you're going to see that one coming.
Right.
See one van with 2 or 3 men.
Right.
And then don't be to the point where you are gullible. That's the word. Don't be so gullible where you don't think women are traffickers. Right. Because they're the ones who's luring men or young boys.
It's crazy.
The insecurities that come into play where they say, well, I never like a girl like that. Well, that little girl, now she likes you because she don't see you. She see the value.
Yeah, she see that money, dollar sign, exactly.
So now she plays on your insecurities to get you to come to a destination where your guard is down. You go. So we have to, as we say, woke in today's society. Are we really woke? Do we really understand the severities and the magnitude? And that's just in-person opportunities. Right. We ain't even got into Instagram, Facebook, the DM, the secret conversation, and social media, and how that plays a role in luring kids, even video games. Because now you can talk to a person by playing Xbox and PS5, and you don't even know what you're in the kitchen cooking dinner for your baby, and your baby talking to a 50-year-old man talking about, hey, give me your phone number, just send it to me on the chat, and I'm gonna send you some pictures of me. Pedophiles are everywhere.
You're right.
That's facts.
You're right.
I had to check my 9-year-old boys the other day. They got the headphones now to hook up to the controller and the Xbox. And I wanted to say one of them slipped up. It said a curse word.
I believe it. I believe it.
In the room. So
I believe
by the time I got around the corner, it was, what was that?
What was
that? You?
Huh?
You?
What?
Both sides of the headset, and they're talking to somebody. And that's the thing. I'm like, and that's what hit me the other day. I'm like, ain't he? And then I hadn't realized they're not even talking to each other. I thought they were talking to each other.
Talking to another person 1,000 miles away.
Exactly.
So that's one core facet of the gentleman's course. And then as we stated, I'm the president for United for Human Rights Florida, where we specifically focus on human rights education globally. Okay. It's an international organization, but I'm the president for this state. We have a chapter in Clearwater, one in Tampa, and also in Miami. But my office facilitates out of Clearwater. Okay. And if you think about when we were in school, I'll be 40 this year. They don't talk about human rights in school anymore. They have a civil rights conversation in Black History Month. Right. But overall, they don't talk about these 30 rights that are important to us, because they're ours simply because we are born.
Right.
Not because you age, turn 18 to 21, has nothing to do with military service or anything. This is simply the minute you're born, these 30 rights belong to you. And a lot of times you've heard of them, you just didn't pay them any attention.
Right.
Right to marriage, no slavery, no torture, the right to education. And we like to play on that one heavily because our audience is youth. They're in school. Right. And when parents tune into our class, whether they're sitting in the room or they're on a Zoom session, we educate them that they get to choose what kids learn in school, so they need to go to the school board meetings.
Right.
But you ask your average adult, one, do you know your human rights? They're going to say no. They don't know.
Probably.
Then, when's the last time that you actually went to a school board meeting?
Yeah, PTA meeting.
If
to
ever.
actually vote.
Right.
And say, no, I don't agree with this new curriculum you're talking about, and voice your opinion. You have that right because you are a taxpaying citizen, simply put, in that county.
So why do you think people are hesitant to do things like that? Do you think it's just because of, I guess to say like lack of knowledge or laziness?
It's laziness.
Laziness.
The focus of people in society today is not as was it was back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Right.
Where parents, where you had a dad that went to work, you had a mom who was a stay-at-home mom, was a homemaker. So she was in tune with the school and the homework and the PTA meeting.
Right.
It was almost a community requirement that all the moms was a part of the PTA.
Yeah.
Because dad was the breadwinner.
Yeah, my mom was definitely on the PTA.
Right? So at the end of the day, we're in a world where women are working equally as hard as men. And you got more men being the homemakers. They're cooking. But cooking was never just a woman's job. If you look at even today's society, most chefs are what?
Men.
Men.
Yeah.
From a professional perspective, you walk in a restaurant.
Even like the high class, you go to New York and everything else.
It's men cooking, getting to it. But we was raised up and then cook that kitchen, cook them groceries up.
See, I ain't gonna lie. See, okay, so that's where the conversation, the gender roles come in, I guess.
Gender roles.
I think gender roles, especially when it comes to something like cooking, it's okay for that to be considered a gender role inside somebody's home. But I don't think like the overall outlook of something like cooking, you know, there's a gender role to it because like you said, the majority of cooks are men,
right,
or chefs are men.
And even in the home, I think a person should choose.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
If they
Exactly.
want that role,
what fits your
I'm
family?
the cook in the house.
Exactly.
It's not a mindset of you to cook because you a woman. No. That's wrong.
But if I pay all the bills, she cooking.
No. You can just
Look, I think if I think I cook better than her, I'm cooking. That's if I think my food tastes better.
If I cook better than her,
exactly, I'm cooking. I'm doing it. You gonna make the plates, but I'm cooking.
There's a lot of times where people forget what they chose.
Right.
Yes, in your defense, being the breadwinner in the home, and you have a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home lady, you would think respectfully, hey, I'm paying all these bills, the least you could do is cook all the food. Yeah. But in turn, what if you didn't marry a cook?
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, she can't cook.
You married her because it wasn't because of the cooking.
Exactly.
You married her because of her appeal.
Exactly.
Her physical stature.
Right.
But you forgot about those bare qualities that actually should have been considered for your basic need. You got to eat. You need substance.
Yep.
But if she can't prepare substance, what good is all the beauty?
She gonna get substituted.
She gonna get substituted. That's the problem. So we don't want to marry substitutes.
Right. Exactly.
So we want to make sure the people that we're choosing are of quality standard, and that goes back to our program because when we get into the 30 rules of a gentleman and educating young women and young men on these 30 simple basic tactics. Something says, if you want to own anything worth having, you need to work for it.
Absolutely.
Forgive me for violating one of my own rules because I didn't take my hat off indoors. But at the same time, we don't use foul language. It shows a lack of vocabulary. If you want to use a word and you choose that that's not the word for the situation, I like to say foolishness is my safe word. So that's some foolishness. Especially when you're in the company of other people. Now, if you want to go in the corner of the bathroom, you want to say your few words to release your stress, then you do what you do. But when you're conversing with other people, you want to make sure that you adjust your language and your tone and your pitch because sometimes you don't want to seem overly aggressive when talking to somebody.
Like that's important, right? The tone and the pitch.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't get that.
They really don't.
The tone and the pitch. They'll get that. Oh, you talking proper, but you don't see like it's how you talk too.
Right.
Right.
You know
If we can't have a conversation like this, then we can't have a conversation.
Exactly.
Even if I'm upset, I'm still going to talk to you in the same manner.
See, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
We all
I'm working on that.
Like perfect. So you think I was this guy forever?
But I'm gonna segue into this though, because I'm like you in that sense, and we got another thing in common, which is the Marine Corps.
Exactly.
So, do you think that helped us mature maybe a little bit faster to get to that point, to where we kind of, because being in the military, being in any branch, is, you know what I'm saying, shut up and just take orders and
Do as you're
Fall in line.
I can be yelling and spitting in your face. You better not blink an eye, move a lip.
See, well, I was, and it's not, on the level of, the military or anything like that, but I went to an HBCU and I was in the marching band, and exactly, extremely, extremely militant. So I had, section leaders in my face yelling at me, calling me all out my name. They never called me once by my actual name the whole time I was there. It was always the name that they gave me. You know what I'm saying?
Being in Marine Corps, I can tell you, I was a couple N-words.
I see. I ain't got time for that.
Everything under the boot.
Under the boot. Okay.
What exists underneath your shoe. Wherever you walk on, that's what we were.
Okay.
In a drill instructor voice, you never understand the complex behind training somebody and understanding that we have to break you in order to make you.
Exactly.
A lot of people think, no, just teach me. It's not that simple. I need you to come back down to your bare lowest state and then allow me to build you up. The military took me from a goon, as they foresee. Because could you picture me with dreadlocks, gold teeth?
Word. Out here, huh?
Miami streets, driving a 1964 Buick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Miami green with 26s, 19.
Yeah.
No. That car 99.
That's trappy right there. That's trapping.
They see it don't now and they think, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
See, no. See, I come from an era where a donk was the luxury.
Exactly.
Car.
Okay.
I mean, it was a difference between you had the Bentleys and Maserati, but that was nothing but rich people.
Exactly.
It wasn't a common car to see somebody driving down the street in the Bentley.
Right.
No. We had box Chevys with 99 headlights.
Okay.
We had Cutlass Supreme with the rocket engine. We
30
had
speakers.
ZZ Rock Chevy Camaros. We had T-tops.
Yep.
Things
I like the T-tops. I ain't gonna lie.
It was culturally for us to understand what that mentality was to hustle. And it was a part of our fad back then. But I was 19 years old when I got caught with 16 kilos of cocaine in mean streets of Savannah, Georgia. Wow. Now just imagine street value back then. That was a lot of money, 16 kilos. But I was getting it. But I was also failing in life because I was a super senior. I was 20 years old, still in high school.
Damn.
So how can they called me the super senior. I had a full grown
He said they called me that. That was my name.
I smelled like a pound of weed every day, and I didn't care. I showed up to school at 7:45. Wasn't learn. It was to pick up somebody's daughter to go home.
You skipping school.
So when you're talking about what the question you asked me was, what did the Marine Corps do? How did it change a person? We were talking about growing up or modifying personality and characteristical traits. Because did it change me as a person? No, I'm still that hustler. That will never leave me. But understanding properly how to hustle and the proper facets of structure and order, that's what the Marine Corps taught me. Can I look at myself at my lowest and then build myself up? Because if I look at something as a target and say, you know what? I can go at it from here. And I forgot all these core values that were built up from the bottom. Then I'm going to pursue an idea without establishing my foundational base.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of us as black people or minorities, entrepreneurs, we fail at the base.
Correct.
Copyrights, trademarks, business registration, understanding non-disclosure agreements and talking about ideas without people knowing. You're going to sign this piece of paper before we talk about anything.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, how do we protect our minds while protecting our craft and our intellectual property? Marine Corps taught me a lot, but I never let the Marine Corps control my mind. It controlled my body. It got me in shape. It kept me fit. running 3 miles in 15 minutes, you couldn't catch me.
It's crazy.
I was getting it.
It's crazy.
I knocked out 21 pull-ups like it wasn't nothing.
100 crunches?
100 crunches, quick. 2 minutes. Knocking them out.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
At the end of the day, they built the machine. So when you fine-tune that box Chevy, ain't nothing catching it.
Right.
And we all know this. You fine-tune anything that you have that's a craft, perfect it, it will move flawlessly.
Right.
So we have to, as a culture, learn how to fine-tune ourselves. This is my bare minimum dress. My closet consists of hats, dress shirts, suits, blazers. I own 3 pair of denim jeans. That's it. Because the audience and the places that I'm going now in my life, that is what consistently is required of my wardrobe. If I'm anything less, I'm not even leaving my home. Unless I go to the barbershop, but sometimes she'll come to the house and cut my hair. So I ain't got to go nowhere.
That's fire.
You know, so you got to pay for it.
Right. Yeah.
So how you feel where, I mean, I know that's part of your wardrobe now. Would you say that was always part of your wardrobe? And then 2...
So you fine-tuning. I told you.
Okay, fine-tuning. Okay, call it fine-tuning. Some might say you're adjusting or adapting to, you know what I'm saying, you're not really being you in a genuine sense because...
Coming with the times, huh? So, we coming from fur coats, linen suits, gaiters, snake skins, everything, kangaroo hats. That was what was right.
Right.
So culturally, if we don't adjust, if you don't make the proper changes as you grow, you're a dying body. Just like a church. And me and my pastor just had this conversation literally last night after Bible study. If a church has 0 millennials in the church, it's a dying church. Absolutely. If you have 0 young adults, it's a dying church. Senior citizens cannot establish longevity in a church because the senior citizens ain't having no more kids. Their tire's going to run short when that casket closes. So with senior citizens pass on, where's your new money coming from that's going to keep this church growing? You need youth programs, youth engagement, that younger audience, black people, white people, it don't matter. People need to go to church. Because of where we want to find our substance, if you're a Christian faith, if you're a Catholic faith, or you Buddhist, as a younger person, I need you to find spiritual guidance in your foundation. Whatever you choose. I'll never push a person to become a Christian because that's just not me. I'm going to go to church, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to church. You ain't going to stop me from going to church. But the day you want to go, I'm going to say, come on. But I'm not going to, hey, you need to go to church.
You need to go to church. Wake up, bro. We got to go to church.
But find your spiritual base. Whatever it is, you're going to guide yourself because a lost mind is an unfounded mind. You know, the slogan of this talk show, by any means, Malcolm X's token slogan, by any means. So if you fine-tuning, you adjusting, you accomplishing your goals, but by what means are you going to do that? Because so many people stop because of obstacles that they put in front of their own door.
Right. And that was actually leads into a question that I wanted to ask a few seconds ago. So how do you find it to be a struggle to make being, I guess you say, a gentleman more appealing than being, say, a street dude or a hood dude or a goon, as you put it earlier? How do you make being a gentleman more appealing than that?
Well, I'm still a goon. Don't never.
I like it.
Because in the day, just because I got on a suit and tie don't mean I won't punch you.
Exactly.
People forget that this is an embodiment of what I want to be. It's choices.
Right.
I got a meme up on my Instagram that I tell people to dress for the future that you want now. Right. If you want to be that CEO, well, look up all the CEOs across the globe. Look at how they dress. You need to follow suit.
Exactly.
Because if you walk into a meeting with someone and you're not dressed accordingly, the faith they're going to have in your idea, automatically you've lost points.
Right.
It might not be an all-out fail, but now you got to work a little harder.
Exactly.
So why work harder at the introduction? In the gentleman's course, we teach your first impression is always your best impression. So if I'm not going to show up with my best foot forward from the first time we meet, why am I going to waste my time with a repeat offender? Mm-hmm. And they ask the judges the same question. Because if you've been in my courtroom with the same foolishness, and now you're a repeat offender coming back again, you ain't changed nothing. You ain't even try to put on no clothes. I'm going to have the same conclusion you did the first time I saw you.
Yeah, I hear that a
So
lot.
you say adjustment, fine-tune it. Being a goon is a mental state of control of yourself. Understanding you don't value or devalue the thoughts of other people when it comes to yourself. Because somebody's not going to like you.
Right.
You can't control that. I only focus on things I can control. Elements I can move with my two hands, decisions I can make closure on. If you don't agree with it, fine, that's your opinion. I'm not going to go back and forth about it. So being a gentleman is not always being weak. It's understanding how you're grounded as a person, and then how you treat people, but how you allow yourself to be treated. Because I have standards for myself that nobody else will lessen. I don't drink from plastic cups, so I keep a glass in my car. You ain't got no cup, fine. I'm gonna go get one.
Got one in the car.
Your standards, my standards for myself
is
how I maintain them for myself. A standard is a bougie need when you can't provide the satisfaction of your standard for yourself. No, you being bougie right now, because that is different.
It's going back to the human trafficking thing. I know a lot of people's like driving force or inspiration in some cases behind starting programs like that is personal experience.
Right.
So was that the case for you? Did you have a personal experience with human trafficking or anything, or know anybody that did?
Not at the time when I started.
Okay.
No. I was heavy into fashion. So as you referenced earlier, my grandfather was B.B. King. Was also my mentor. So he taught me a lot about fashion and understanding the balance of, the importance of looking well. When he passed, I had to find something to do because the tour bus door had closed. I was no longer B.B. King's assistant road manager. Now, I'm just Christopher King. What am I going to do?
Right.
I'm no longer in the military, so I can't do that. His tour bus closed, so ain't no more venues, ain't no more concertos, no more halls.
I don't want to hear you come.
I can do the Thrillers Gone. They're not going to pay me no attention.
Right.
At the end of the day, I had to find a transition, so I stayed in the fashion world, and I designed gentlemen's blazers and bow ties. I had my own wooden bow tie line back then.
Wooden bow tie?
Wooden bow ties.
Okay.
But everything, like you say, is an adjustment. Right. You don't always do the same thing forever. So how do you grow internally? My manager at the time, I asked her name was Tina Cox, and I said, I need something that I can do that's going to give back to kids, because I can always make some money. That's the easy part about life. You can find a way to make $1.
Exactly.
You ain't going to make $1 million, but you can find a way to make $1.
Right.
Now you got to turn that dollar into $1 million. But that base, I can make some money.
Right.
But I wanted to find a way to give back, because making money wasn't always making me happy. And I wanted my centralized happiness in my heart. She said, well, what about working with some children? I said, okay, fine. What do you think I should do? She says, no, that's for you to figure out.
Right.
That hard love, right? I'm like, you ain't gonna make this easy for me. She said, no, I ain't.
That's a whole nother job.
I'm not giving you no keys to the city.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I had to sit down and start brainstorming and put my brain thinking cap on. And she said, I'm gonna give you a hint. Do what you already know and just teach that to kids. You already know fashion, you know style, you know personal shopping, you know mannerisms, so just teach that to the kids. I said, okay. So I got on my pen and pad and started putting everything together to be presented for copyright purposes, because you got to own it.
Exactly.
You can't just be doing something you don't copyright.
Exactly.
So moving forward, that's how we came up with the gentleman's course. And we started out just teaching kids in the library systems here in Hillsborough County for free, but working with human trafficking survivors.
Okay.
Never had a personal experience myself, and I'm not the kind of person that becomes an advocate through adversity.
Right. Okay.
I see something that needs to be done in my own research, and found that Florida was ranked 3rd in human trafficking and affected kids. There's enough out there for breast cancer and autism and all. I mean, they're covered globally by million-dollar organizations.
Right.
But where's the human trafficking advocacy at? Who's working on saving these kids and getting them back to society? The organizations are far few for many. So I figured, let me work with those survivors. And what happened, I got booked to host a fashion show for an organization called Miracles Outreach. And when I found out that the models in the fashion show were actually survivors of human trafficking, that's what kind of woke me up to furthering my program. So I gave back the money, didn't charge them to host, and I became a volunteer for their charity. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a little more. Since I got a lot of celebrity connections, let me raise some money for you guys. So I started doing what they call the Gentleman's Ball, which is our formal gala that we host in Clearwater, Florida. And we started raising money for other charities. I wasn't a 501c3 at that time. It was just a for-profit business that I put together to make money for other folks to, once again, my internal happiness.
Right.
Human trafficking has always been big once I found out what it was for me. Since then, we've donated money to a lot of charities, but then we've got our own 501c3, and now we work directly with our own youth, facilitating our own chapters and programs, housing them ourselves, and growing from there, creating future gentlemen and future ladies. So it's not just human trafficking survivors, now it's any and all youth.
Okay. And do you, I'm sorry, do you got anything?
No.
Oh, okay. This kind of stuff blows my mind. I've actually always wanted to ask something, but I'm not sure if you have knowledge of it or not. But do you know, like, I guess you said, like, the average age range of a human trafficker, not the victim, but the trafficker?
Honestly, I mean, there's so many different medians when you're talking about a trafficker. There is no demographical structure for a trafficker. That's why they're listed as traffickers. Okay. You don't see a list of traffickers when it comes to people like sex offenders. You can kind of find that person through mental or psychological structure. You can figure out that mindset. Right. For a trafficker, they have not figured that part out yet because it's so diverse. Traffickers are not the most common people you would see walking down the street. They're not considered the thug. They're not considered the goon. People who have been arrested for trafficking are the people that we trust the most in our lives, from police officers, firemen, school teachers, lawyers, doctors, married men. That's crazy. I mean, literally, the gamut in the list is so far gone.
Yeah, I think.
How can you put a nail on just one thing when the people who are being arrested for trafficking, and I ain't talking 1 or 2 kids, they found in Orlando was 127 kids in one house with a doctor and a school teacher.
That's crazy. I think that's what that caught my attention doing my research and hearing different videos and stuff on you, that a school teacher sold her student. I was just like, what?
Right.
Yeah, the reason I asked that, though, is because I always tend to think, like, okay, so, and I'm not sure how old, y'all are, but I'm 31. So when I was a kid, you could just go outside, be outside all day, not have to worry about nothing. So I'm thinking now, like, how did we come from that? And I think in my head, like, okay, the people who are now my age or maybe a little bit older, they're the people that's doing the trafficking. So if you had such a safe and, carefree childhood, how are you now creating such an unsafe environment for the kids now? Like, what triggers somebody's brain to just want to start doing something like that?
So you missed both, then. Yeah, both of y'all missed the boat.
Right.
Trafficking ain't never just
stopped.
It's always been around.
Right.
Behind it, it began to surpass the drug industry. It surpassed the gun industry. Right. Because all these industries were always billion-dollar industries. But when they found that people don't mind selling people.
That's so crazy, man. That's wild to me.
When they figured out that people don't mind buying people today, modern day slavery, it's about the money. Hands down. I'll make more money because that gun, once I sell that gun, it's been sold once. I can't make no more money off that gun. But I can sell you 100 times.
Yeah.
It's like they took pimping to the next level from a pimp taking care of his prostitutes to now we don't even care about them.
That's
I don't
crazy.
care about the John. The John go to jail as long as I got my property back. I care about the John. There's no culture.
Right.
See, back in the Don Juan days, there was a culture about caring in the industry of prostitution and pimping. Nowadays, there is no care. Why you don't see it no more? They actually had documentaries about pimping.
Yeah.
You don't see those no more because the industry has changed to where that is not even plausible. Because women today are doing what? Pimping themselves.
Yeah, say pimping themselves.
They don't
OnlyFans,
need nobody
well,
no more to care for them because now it's virtual. Now we got OnlyFans.
Exactly.
Now we got full sex on Instagram. I mean, when you tune into Instagram and can see somebody having full sexual intercourse, I don't even understand them.
Definitely.
The world
That's
we
wild.
live in and what people
That's
have
Twitter,
to
though.
see.
That's Twitter all day.
Twitter is the
Man.
same thing, but it boggles my mind. So you ask the question of how.
Right.
Why not? Because we're okay with publicizing the derogatory of sex. We're okay with that as a social standard. We've green-lighted it on so many different levels and desensitized it. We don't even see a person being taken in a van as a problem because we won't even realize it because it happened so quickly. Like, hey, that just happened.
Was that a prank?
That goes back to what
That
you,
a prank?
Exactly,
what you were
yeah.
saying earlier, though, just being aware of your surroundings. Like I know, like I said, that's why I asked you the question earlier about did the Marine Corps help you with that? Because I know it definitely helped me with that. Like I definitely like that's like I think number one major thing I think I took away from the Marine Corps is like attention to detail around my surroundings and what's always going on around me. Like so, it's like you said. Now, yeah, if I see you right then, I'm like, hold on. Now I'm gonna sit here and stand a couple more minutes and watch it till you know what I'm saying. But back then, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, it kept moving.
People don't pay little things any attention anymore. You know, they don't check over their shoulder because they think their life is good. No, you need to always look over your shoulder because you never know what's coming or who.
Yeah.
So, statistically speaking, like how often do, I guess you say, men that are over the age of 18 get human trafficked? Do you know?
That's something that I haven't researched, so I don't want to give out any false data from that, but it's a good thing for me.
It's got to be like 0% though, right? Like, come on, you a grown man. You can't just let nobody throw you in the van,
Because
bro.
you got to think, when you're talking about, and this is off topic, but you're talking about kinks.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something out there for everybody.
It's true. It's very true.
You know, people like short women, they like midgets, they like grandmas, you know,
Yeah.
it's somebody, like I said, humans selling humans. I said what I said for a reason.
Yeah.
I didn't say teenagers selling teenagers, black selling black, white selling black, black selling white. No. Humans selling humans. The age that's mostly targeted 12 through 18. That's your consistent age range is 12 through 18. When we're talking about reported cases. What about the unreported?
Right.
Things we ain't even caught yet or found out about yet. So it's, you know, who knows? I don't want to know.
Right.
But
Yeah, no, definitely.
the future's to come, our world has only gotten worse.
Unfortunately.
The things that we tolerate and allow are what we have to actually accept, you know, as being an okay cultural standard. I'll never support the selling of a person being okay on any format. I even teach the kids that if a person owes you money and you tell them they can come to your house and do work to pay off the debt, that is slavery. Don't do that. Just wait your turn so they pay you back your money or write it off like every other creditor in the world. Charge it off as a charge off and go on with your life. Because somebody said it best, if they owed you $20, you just paid them $20 to get out of your life.
So when grandma
That's real.
called me and be like, hey,
Come on, man. You can't pay your grandma to be out your life, man.
You give grandma back her money.
No, grandma owe him some money.
Grandma ain't paying him back.
Come on, man.
Certain people, first off, you don't
but you
loan,
just said mama, daddy.
you don't loan your grandmother no money.
Nah.
That's a gift.
I ain't got it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you gonna be all right.
I ain't got it to borrow, but I got you. I got it for you to have.
Look,
I got it for you to have. Get ready.
First of all, family is one of the most closest people that you might as well go ahead and forget about loaning family money. Because if you have to loan your family money, that ain't your family. Because how you gonna act when somebody owe you money? You ain't gonna treat them like your cousin or your brother. Because you want your money.
I need that.
So when you need that. So when you let it loose your hand, let it loose your hand. I already know it. You ain't getting that back.
See?
And if they do, pay it back. See, I'm talking about that goon mode. It's that mental control. If I give you that blessing already with the conclusion to myself, you're not going to pay that back. I'm not going to judge how I treat you going forward because I know I wasn't getting that back. So I'm going to be the same nice person. Now, if you pay it back, great. But if I go in that situation looking for that, knowing you said you're going to pay it back and holding you to that, I'm creating inner anger for myself. I'm allowing myself to get mad about the situation. So no, I'm not even finna do that. I'm finna give you that. That's on God. You know what? Be blessed. Because at the end of the day, God gave me the blessing to be able to give it to you.
With that being said, it's a great segue to bring in Tut's Kitchen.
With some food.
With some food.
Oh, we got food. Okay. Yes, sir.
Catering our first podcast today.
Okay.
Great young lady. Had the pleasure of just meeting. Tut's Kitchen. I'm going to invite her on, give her a little spill about, you know what I'm saying, what led her to open her business and how she got here. So, yes, ma'am. Come on.
You can have my seat. Or, so you can scoot over.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for catering. Just tell me a little bit about, what is it, Tut's Kitchen? I'm sorry? Toots? Toots?
I'm sorry.
Toots. Okay.
Yeah, so Tut's Kitchen. The name is actually named after my mom.
Okay.
It's her nickname. It's in her honor. The business is in her honor. And I started the business about 2018. Started catering for like schools and stuff like that. I worked at a school. They would have me cook for them, and it turned into a business. Now I'm gonna go back about 2012. I had a ministry where I was out feeding the homeless and stuff like that, and it got to a point where I was trying to raise money all the time to be able to feed them, because my goal was to build a shower trailer, take it around Tampa so that they can have somewhere to shower, clean up, and then also feed them. Got overwhelming, so I stopped it for a while, and then I realized that the business I have now is actually the tool that's going to prepare me for the ministry itself to be able to fund it. I want to have a food truck and also a restaurant, and the restaurant will hire ex-convicts and homeless that are trying to get off the street. I want to be able to transition them into working. So they can get jobs, because it can be very difficult when you have a record to get a job. So I want to be able to open up a door for these people, because they're human as well. It's a lot of goals that I have, and it's not just to make money, but it's also to reach the community. So that's basically my business, and it's based off of soul food, because soul food makes your soul feel good.
Right, exactly. So I'm gonna ask you the same thing I asked Mr. King. So in the sense of, a lot of people starting their businesses based off of personal experiences. Was, something like that a personal experience for you?
The homelessness?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was homeless for a little while when I first moved back to Tampa. I was in a transitional state where I just didn't know what I was doing. I was pursuing a career in acting. So I did a play, but then right after that, I ended up homeless for a few months, and I was just like, this is not the life for me.
Right.
So trying to figure it out each and every day, I started, meeting people, and I'm realizing, they're human too. When you go through certain things, you have a different type of compassion for the people that you see out on the streets and stuff like that. So, a few family members, friends that were homeless, I've always had this open door situation where it's like, listen, I got a couch, figure it out. Go do what you need to do. So that's how it kind of started for me when it came to helping them. But I just always know that we're supposed to take care of the homeless, the kids, and the elderly. And that's just my goal in life, is to be able to help those that can't help themselves.
Okay.
So.
Wonderful story. Okay, so let me. You guys know?
I just want to know what she brought.
Oh God, that was my next question. I was gonna say, tell us about what you bring.
Soul food, but I also cater brunch and also also like hibachi, which is what we have today. Y'all
Okay.
have teriyaki chicken,
Yee.
fried rice, and so I hope y'all enjoy it. You know, I cook it from the heart.
Appreciate
that.
that.
Appreciate it.
Yes, and I appreciate y'all having me on here today and just having me cater. I hope y'all enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, you can
What's
just.
your name,
I was about to say,
IG, Facebook.
Where can they find you?
My name is Tiffany Rivers. The business is Tuts Kitchen, TUTS Kitchen, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And TikTok?
TikTok?
Okay. Exactly.
I got a couple dollars. I can throw your way.
Listen,
You be doing the dances and the.
I be picking up my own funny videos, but it's been a while.
Good.
I'm about to do another one, especially
Okay.
with these TikTok videos and trends coming around. I need to jump on them again,
Definitely.
so I can go viral.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, I'm definitely sending, some positive vibes and energy your way, manifesting that you get that food truck and that restaurant that you're working towards. It will come to pass, absolutely.
This is a food truck city. I gotta be out in the streets.
Got to. Please come down here, because I was so tired of trying to find somewhere to eat down here. I'm like, there's
My goal is
nothing
be
to eat
downtown.
down here.
I want to be all over the city.
Okay.
I want to be able to be found. Like I said, food for the soul.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. All right, well, that was episode 1 of the By Any Means podcast. We definitely appreciate you all tuning in. Special thanks to our guest, Mr. King. Special appreciation to my co-host as well as the owner of Tuts Kitchen. Look them up. Hit us up. Follow all of our social medias at BAM Podcast on Instagram, By Any Means Podcast on YouTube. I'm sure we'll have a Facebook up soon, and we got to get a TikTok now, bro. She done showed us up with the TikTok. I ain't dancing either. Come on now. Hold on. There it is. Exactly. Let's just drop them little clips. Drop a couple clips. You know what I'm saying? But again, thank you all for tuning in. I'm the Podfather OC. Again, this is my homeboy, the street consultant, By Any Means Podcast. We out. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all.